We are live. Let's take a minute for everybody to start joining. All right. So, for everybody who's joining in right now, remember that you can watch this live stream on multiple platforms. We're currently live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. All right. Let's start. Hey, everyone. For everybody who is watching right now, in order to interact with our live poll, ask questions to the guest, please join the Slido that you see on the screen. You can basically join it by going to slido.com and entering the number that you see on your screen currently, and also by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen as well. So today's event is all about life, but making it product managed. I think it's a very fun topic that we get to explore today. We'll talk about all the interesting stuff about product management and how we can use those things in our daily life as well. Our today's guest is Milos Belcevic, and Milos is a product manager uh, who is hailing from sorry, I think there is. Yeah, sorry. Milos is a head of product at a London-based sports technology startup. Over the years, he has had the chance to work and scale many products for organizations ranging from an MIT-based startup to global corporations. He is currently pursuing a PhD diving into optimization and analytics in product management, and he wrote his book on applying product management principles in personal life and shared experiences at over 15 product and agile conferences in 5 countries. My name is Gazmir Mansoor, and I am today's host for this live stream. I am an associate product management consultant one at Product People. I have about four plus product management experience and operations management experiences. I have worked in companies like PackageX, TELUS Health, Bell, and CIBC before, and I have a bachelor's in software engineering. A little bit about Product People. So, what exactly do we do? We provide interim product management, product ops, and transformation acceleration services via our in house staff. That's how we work. And we also do free events and talks for one of Europe's largest product management communities with over 60,000 members as well. And we also want to get to know you, all of you who are watching the live stream right now. This is a fun icebreaker question which was chosen by Milos. So this is asking, what does your current life backlog look like? Is it literally a laundry list, personal growth projects that you'll never start, health goals that you keep reprioritizing, Netflix queue that you treat as a roadmap, or what backlog? And to interact with this live poll, you can join the Slido number that you see on the screen by going to slido.com and also scanning the QR code as well. All right, I'll give people a little time to answer the questions and interact with the poll. All right, so now I'll basically hand it over to Milos. So, Milos, you can basically share your screen and start the talk, and I can stop my share screen right now.
Thank you, Gazmir, for the intro, and thanks everyone for joining. As mentioned, we will discuss product management, but applied to life. Um, we will cover different challenges we face, see if product thinking could help, and look closely into three areas of product management: prioritization, lean and agile, metrics, and in the end, we will tie all together and wrap it up. Some of these concepts and tools will be familiar to you, but let's use the opportunity to look at them from a different angle and to see how we can apply them to life, and also discuss maybe how you already applied some product management aspects in your lives as well after the talk. So, when it comes to challenges we face, both in personal and work life, we need to balance competing priorities. We are managing different responsibilities and roles. We are managing different relationships with different people. We need to deal with uncertainty. We learn on the go. And on top of everything, we try to maintain life work balance. But could product thinking help here? Let's take a step back and see what we do at work. So, um, every day we prioritize, we experiment, work in lean and agile ways, communicate effectively, follow the metrics, negotiate, and so on. But what about life? It seems as if we had two brains or if we were two separate people. Sometimes we totally forget these things we do on a regular basis in our life and sort of drive on autopilot or don't apply all these things that could actually be useful to us. So let's try and remember these different skills and use them in life as well. First, we will look into prioritization, and that's a huge area of product management, but we will look into three aspects of it. When it comes to prioritizing, to me, it's all about the value we give, value we get. And it has three different layers: time, effort, and risk. So, when it comes to value and time, I would like to discuss urgency. Many times we chase and to distinguish different fires, and sometimes urgent things seem important or valuable, but this is not always the case. So we need to think through and always take a step back and distinguish between urgent and valuable or important. There is a great tool called Eisenhower matrix that separates things into based on urgency and important, how important they are. So things can be urgent and important, urgent and not important, not urgent and important, or not urgent and not important at all. So it's interesting to use this matrix as a tool, and in your head think about where different things fall rather than just running and chasing different urgent things. It's pretty much like building a house. If you are always repairing small urgent things and you forgot to do maintenance work, in the end it all piles up, and it's a challenge you need to face that grew over time, but you could have addressed it. Breaking point is another concept I would like to mention here when it comes to value and time. For some things, there is a strict deadline after which the value drops drastically or the cost rises. Think about different deadlines: deadline for applying for a talk, deadline for filing your taxes. Sometimes, after this strict line, point in time, um, you lose all the value. When it's too late to apply, it's too late to apply. When you didn't file your taxes on time, you may get a fine, and so on. So think about urgency, but also think about these fixed points of time when you need to act before they come. Next important aspect we mentioned is effort. And there is um, concepts like return on investment, cost benefit, which may be very familiar to you from your day-to-day work. However, in life, many times we don't really look at the balance between what we are giving and what we are getting. And I'm not talking in materialistic sense, but about your investment of time, your investment of focus, energy on different things, and what results do you get in return. It's important to think about it and to be mindful, because we all have limited resources and limited time, and our focus is limited, our energy is limited. So we should, like in work, try to maximize the results we get for the minimum possible investment. And there is also a cognitive bias called sunken cost fallacy, which is interesting to mention both for work and for life. When we have invested certain resources or time or energy into something, we are less likely to give up on that idea, even if it's a failed idea, or circumstances have changed and now we should move on to something else. That's because we all have this bias. And the first step to fight against this bias is to be aware of it. And once you're aware of it and you know that's how we operate as humans, you can think through and try and be objective, or ask someone else for their objective opinion around different projects or different items you've been investing yourself in, and you're not ready to give up, even though maybe it's a better decision to cut your losses and draw the line. Similar to effort, there is also risk added to value. Like with effort and return on investment and cost benefit, there is risk and reward. So ideally, you would like to have less risk and more reward. But of course, if the reward is bigger, then you could be prepared to risk more. Here, it's not a bias, but it's our relationship with risk. And I would like to mention it as well, risk aversion. Some people have more or less aversion towards risk, but you should know where you lie on this scale in order to try and act rationally and not act in fear of risk, or maybe in lack of fear of the risk. Lastly, one another famous principle called Pareto principle around value. Wilfredo Pareto was Italian economist, scientist from the 19th century, and he actually looked into landowners in Italy and saw that 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the landowners. And later on, it turns out that this pattern is everywhere. So, biggest 20% of biggest clients usually bring in 80% of the revenue to an agency. Video clubs, if you are a generation like me, so you remember them, we used to rent videos, literally physical cassettes. Uh, there's been a research that 20% of the most popular titles were responsible for 80% of total amount of rentals. And I'm sure it's similar for streaming services nowadays. It's also with bugs and functionalities, and even birds flock. In the state of New York, there was research into bird sightings, and 80% of the sightings were 20% of the most common birds. So in life, it's all about finding that perfect slice. If we can focus and optimize and work on 20%, which 20% do we choose that will bring us this 80% of value in our life? Next up are lean and agile principles. And there's a whole philosophies both behind agile and behind lean, and I will not go into depth. And I'm sure many of you or all of you are familiar with these terms and these philosophies. But beyond Agile Manifesto, that is soon 25 years old, almost, and beyond uh, principles and values it was based on, to me, agility is about responding to change, delivering value in increments, adjusting to change, being flexible, and about interactions. Lean, that's Agile originated with Agile Manifesto and some movements before. Lean was popularized in Toyota production system, uh, and to me, it's all about optimization, about eliminating waste and scaling and optimizing. There are two concepts I would like to touch upon called explore and exploit. In product management, they were popularized by Strategizer, the team behind Business Model Canvas and behind Invincible Companies, where they say that each company should have two portfolios: explore and exploit portfolios. Exploration is used for new ideas. We want to have small experiments to learn quickly and compare and adjust. And there is also exploit portfolio. Once we know an idea or hypothesis works, we should double down on it and optimize it. And in personal life, I think we should have these two modes of operating. We should explore different ideas, different tricks, tips we see, and we should exploit. Once something works for us, we should double down on it. For example, if I want to live healthier, I can look into my diet, I can look into physical exercises, I can look into sleep and rest, being mindful, and so on. And instead of just doubling down right away on a certain thing without comparing and experimenting, I can actually first be in explore mode and check what gives best results to me. And once I find out what works for me, I can then double down on it and exploit it. So we should always remember these two ways of being or two ways of doing and experiment. And once we have results or good positive results, we do exploitation as well. Next up, I would like to look into metrics, and there is ton of metrics. Like with these other concepts, there's a lot of things to discuss, but I would look into KPIs and KFIs. For KPIs, it's key performance indicator, and I'm sure everyone is familiar with them. They are basically a measurable unit that shows performance going well. So if the KPIs are met, we are doing well. On the other side, there is KFIs, or key failure indicators. They are a bit less common, but they are like the opposite, measurable unit of performance doing not well. So if a number of complaints increases, we are not doing well. Um, but the real magic happens when we pair KPIs and KFIs. And I will explain that a bit more further. Um, in life or in product management, but we are now discussing life. Sometimes we can focus on a single KPI and over optimize. So we are doing well in this one area of life. However, it can be of negative influence into other aspects of our life. And that's why it's important to remember some KFIs, which are like safety mechanism or control that we are not negatively impacting one side of life by over optimizing another. Uh, Recently, I wanted to become more conscious of financials and to save more and spend wiser. So I told myself, okay, you have KPI of saving money. So you have the goal of saving money, and the KPI would be the amount of money saved in the end of the month. And then I tried to save as much as possible, but I noticed that I didn't invest in learning. So I didn't purchase any book, I didn't enroll any course, and so on. So I realized I'm missing this key failure indicator. So then I adjusted my KPI with KFI, saying that I'm looking into amount of money saved without under investing or not investing into personal education and development. And this helped me stay on track in both positive way of saving money, but also continuing to invest in myself. Another and the last metric I would like to discuss is the North Star metric. And the name itself is a wonderful image. It reminds me of explorers and sailors who were navigating by looking in the skies. And that's what it is. It's one single crucial metric to align all. And usually it's in the form of a KPI, and it is a high level indicator. North Star metric at work and in life, we can draw parallels between how it should be. So it needs to be actionable and measurable. It needs to measure value, either for users in product management or for you in personal life. It needs to be aligned with product strategy, or it needs to be aligned with your best self. It's a leading indicator for revenue, ideally, or it's a leading indicator for well-being. For Netflix, it could be number of videos watched, or for Airbnb, it could be number of bookings. In your life, you can say a number of days well spent, and then each day, and the end of the day, I rank the day and answer yes or no, or rank it from 1 to 5, how meaningful it was, and then I see if I'm meeting my North Star metric. Am I going in the right direction? Next, I would like to tie everything together that we covered and slowly wrap it up. Uh, as a first step, we need to be effective in our priorities, and we need to focus on value. So, what is important or valuable to us through the prism of three dimensions or three aspects: time, effort, and risk. We need to be lean and agile So move fast, maybe don't break things, but move fast and experiment and learn and optimize. We need to explore and exploit. So we need to have experiments to learn, and once something is working well, double down on it. Use metrics for everything that matters, and metrics don't need to be over engineered. It can be just a simple measure, just checking a pulse on things. When you have KPIs, remember to pair them up with KFIs so you don't over optimize one thing on the cost of another. And always remember what's your North Star metric. Uh, Next up, I would love to discuss more and hear your questions.
Hi everyone, I'm Maria and I will take over from here. First of all, thank you so much, Milos. It was so insightful and I'm sure that everybody learned a lot from you today. So, we will have a Q&A session now so we can discuss. Meanwhile, I'll um, do little presentation takeover and if we can show the presentation. Okay. Can it be seen now?
Uh, yes,
All
we
right,
can.
we're back. Sorry, we have technical issues today. But yeah, just to remind you all that we have this QR code that you can access Slido with this code on the screen or just scanning with your phone the QR. And over there, you'll be able to ask any questions and we will continue onto this Q&A section in a moment. Meanwhile, I want to tell you really quickly in which use cases you can engage product people management consultancy. And those are three main cases, one of them being interim or fractional product manager or product leader. And that basically means that there are three different cases for when you want a product manager, but not for a long term. So, first of these cases is a permanent position cover. Sometimes a company is taking a long time to hire someone because they're being very thoughtful about the hiring process. And it oftentimes takes from 3 to 9 months to hire one single product manager. In this case, we can jump in while you are hiring and take over some things while you are focused on finding the perfect fit. Then parental leave covers. Sometimes maternal and paternal leave takes from 3 months to a whole year. So we can also go in that scenario. And also important and urgent initiatives. So for example, there is some very exciting new initiative that you want to dive right in. So, in order to drive product discovery, build MVPs, develop strategy and roadmap, you can also contact product people. Then we have product management and product operation case. So, if you want to upskill your product management team, we can help you to really appraise skills and set up personal development plans with coaching and training. And then we also help create and streamline processes and programs for your team or for a specific product manager from 0 to 1 in hypergrowth and at a scale. Finally, transformation acceleration. We can shift from sales or tech led to product led. And also, we helping to set up your product organization for future success by configuring your product strategy and team structure. Here on this slide, you can see some of our selected B2C clients. Those include Zalando, Scout24, Free Now, Douglas. I'm sure you've heard at least about some of these brands. And here are our B2B clients. So we have World Health Organization, Pliant, Utopia, Elucidad, etc., etc. There's tons, and they're from all different industries. So we really work with very big differentiation of clients. These are some product people stats. Are we supported over 300 cross-functional teams with 70 plus clients from Series A startups and publicly listed companies throughout the years. We are currently counting with 42 product leaders and product managers, which are all in-house and full-time. We are not a remote website where you can hire people randomly. Everyone goes through a very restringent hiring process to end up here. And probably my favorite stat is that we are 62% women team. So there's a lot of women to work with, which is very inspiring. And 66% are all in leadership. So that is very cool. So thank you so much for listening. We'll move on to the Q&A session now. And um, let's just go ahead and I'll say some questions that we are receiving. And first one that I see is, can you upload the slides somewhere? I'd love to revisit them. And yes, this recording will be available for you to check out later. So that's good. I see another question. How do you manage technical debt in life? Bad habits or avoided tasks? Milos, if you can maybe.
Definitely, that's a good question. So I think there are two main ways I deal with that. One is to have regular reviews, so to check how things are going on and to try and prevent a lot of technical debt. And another one is that you can uh, choose and save a certain amount of time to dedicate on a regular basis to dealing with your debt.
All right. Yeah, I think it's a very big, widespread question in general. So I totally agree. We have another question, which is, since feedback is also a big part of Agile, how do you collect feedback in life? From friends, journaling, user interviews with yourself.
That's a
Thank you.
good one.
A few options here.
Yes, so all of the above. Uh, I think it's good to try and be systematic, but also be natural. And sometimes you learn a lot through discussions and things as they happen on the go. I think reviews and reflection, like journaling, is super important. So I try to have personal reviews every week. I do a weekly review and I try to journal daily. And from friends, I like um, discussions, whether they are open-ended discussions or if your friends are willing to experiment as well. It's good to have discussions where you uh, purposefully choose to discuss your relationship, your goals, your what's working, what's not working, and so on. But sometimes these conversations in the beginning can seem a bit odd, but I think they're very beneficial. So I encourage you to try it out and encourage your friends to try it out.
Awesome. What a great answer. Thank you so much. We have another question. Can you maybe expand a bit more on the difference between North Star metric and KFI? KPI, I think.
Okay, so KPIs are key performance indicators. So they are like a measurable unit. North Star metric is basically our main goal. And in the sense, North Star metric can be KPI. It's measurable, it's performance goal or indicator. Um, but in its nature, North Star metric needs to be much more ambitious. It needs to be like a vision, your main purpose of maybe life seems dramatic, but what's driving you? While KPIs are more achievable, more attainable, smaller steps to success.
Fantastic. I think that's a very thoughtful answer. We have a couple more. I think we're going to do several more and then maybe wrap it up. So make sure to send your question right away if you have another one. What's the equivalent of product market fit in life?
Hmm. Yeah,
That's a very artsy, abstract question, I would say.
yeah, very good question indeed. Um, to me, it relates to North Star metric and the goal when I mentioned like well-being. So I think if we are uh, being living a meaningful life in a well-being manner, that's a product market fit for me. You're your main stakeholder, but you also have other stakeholders, and if you can somehow have a good, meaningful balance, I think something like that. But it's very, yeah, philosophical question as well.
It is, indeed. All right, we have another question. How do you differentiate between real growth and just productivity? How do I gauge where I'm actually growing or just being productive?
That's a great question. I think uh, it's there is in Kanban there are classes of service where there are different types of work. So I think we need to differentiate and measure differently different uh, things we do, so you avoid busy work. That's one thing. So just being productive, doing busy work, just repetitive tasks or small tasks, doesn't equal being meaningfully productive. And second one is to have goals. There is also a saying, tell me how you will measure me and I'll tell you how I will behave. So you need to set growth goals as well, to have meaningful goals and to review yourself if you're reaching these goals of personal growth.
Yeah, I think that it's also an interesting take that real growth can be compared to productivity, and that's very similar things, but at the same time, they kind of different. All right, let's do one last question before we wrap up. And we have this one. How do you manage taking in too much responsibilities? How do you avoid burnout and measure your capacity? I think that's such a good question.
Yeah, please tell me how, because I'm very bad at managing my own workload. On the serious side, I am. That's my area of improvement. So I need to learn to not. Um, when you like your work, sometimes you work too much, and I think it's good to try and be mindful of your capacity. What helped me personally is that I told myself I can have up to four items in focus, and then this will build up into my week. So I can focus on exercise, on main work, and some side project and some learning. And then if I want to do thing number five, I would need to replace one of the four listed. So in Kanban, they call it limiting of work in process. So if you set some sort of limits based on your previous experiences on how much you can do, I think it will help a lot with not overburdening yourself. So being mindful of what you take in and having these clear boundaries and respecting them.
I 100% agree. And I think that's so relatable to all product managers that you have to really control what you take on. Otherwise, you can easily burn out. Okay, let's do just one last question because I think it's pretty interesting. In your view and experience, what aspects make up product management and how do you learn and find inspiration in these aspects?
That's a great question as well. So, to me, the biggest aspects are value and prioritization, discovery, um, definitely interactions and collaboration, and metrics. So, four or five of those. And then I think those reflect also in our personal life. And finding inspiration, I think attending events like this, um, following different communities, learning, reading books, and things like that. And it's interesting that life can inspire your product management, and your product management can inspire your life. So they are mutually beneficial. So as you evolve personally and grow personally, you grow professionally, and your professional growth can also impact your personal growth.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that we at Product People always say that in the end of the day, it's all about people. So, what you said, KPIs and collaboration, pretty much sums it up. All right. I think that's all the questions for today. We've done a few. So, next time you can ask more or you can reach out to Milos and ask him directly. But I just want to jump in real quick to talk about two important topics. First, being that we are actually hiring at Product People. And if you scan this QR code, you can see our job positions that are currently open. You can get an opportunity to work hands on to help our clients discover and deliver great products very fast in a very agile manner. So, if you are interested, please scan this QR and apply to the position. And who knows, maybe you can join us. And second thing, please subscribe to our newsletter. You can receive inspiring product stories and insights in your inbox every month. We always come up with fun, up to date information on product management, and we also have a bit of fun with it. So you will for sure love it. And don't miss our next live stream, which is going to happen a week from now with Eva Gao, head of product of ESG AMCS Group. And it's going to be on the following topic: stay hungry. You can be a PM in any industry. So don't miss that one. I'm sure it's going to be very, very interesting as well for you. And that is pretty much it from our end. Thank you so much, Milos, for joining. It was so insightful, and we are honored to have you as our speaker. And I'm sure that everybody who is watching learned something. So please join us next week for the next live stream if you using the same way that you joined today. Also, you can chat with us on our Telegram channel, and also you can check out our podcast on Spotify. So, we wish you all a pleasant afternoon or any time of the day wherever you are based, and see you soon.